everybody, Sean from Movie Assault here, and it's time once again for another video. This time around it is going to be my June 2024 haul video or pickups video or whatever you like to call it. Got a lot of stuff this month. I know I said I probably wasn't going to, but I'm an addict. Basically this month was all about, aside from the whatnot stuff, was pretty much about adding a lot of things to my collection that were plugging holes of things I've seen that I didn't have. So I may have purchased a lot of stuff, but very few blind buys unless I got a really good deal. And Whatnot is always a good deal, so I always get a lot of blind buys from Whatnot. But I got stuff from Diabolic DVD, Groove, Half Price Books, eBay, Hamilton Book, Amazon, and that's it, and Whatnot. I'll get to the Whatnot stuff last, but I'll start with Diabolic DVD. These are two films that I have seen. The first was actually something I've been looking for quite a long time. It is a movie that I've seen once. I do need to watch it again, but it is Let's Get Harry from 1986. I saw this on VHS probably in 88, 89. And this stars Robert Duvall and Glenn Frey, Gary Busey, Rick Rossovich. Who else is in this? Ben Johnson, Tom Wilson. That's all I can remember. It says it was directed by Alan Smithee, which is never a good sign. I forget the original director's name. I don't think it's actually listed on the box, but I got this from Diabolic DVD because this is an Australian release, and it is an all-region Blu-ray release. I don't believe it was ever released in the United States on Blu-ray, but I wanted to pick this up. I have fond memories of it. I don't know if it's aged very well. I've read some reviews that say it hasn't. With the Alan Smithee credit on it, some people say it never was any good to begin with, but I remember liking it, but we'll see. But I've been wanting to watch it because, like I said, I had fond memories of it, and I don't think it ever came out on DVD. Correct me if I'm wrong, but there wasn't a DVD release of this as far as I know. So it went straight from VHS to eventually coming out on Blu-ray, at least in Australia. So I believe this is from Australia. This is the imprint. Oh, this is from New Zealand, according to the back. So from down under, Let's Get Harry. This is a film that was a blind buy, but I did watch it this month, and it is Shriek of the Mutilated. You know I love my Bigfoot movies, my Yeti movies, my Sasquatch movies. This is a little strange. I'll show you the back of the slipcover, and then I'll show you the actual art from the case. And there is reversible artwork as well. But it's a little bizarre. It's the reversible artwork. This actually, it's gotten a lot of heat for being a really bad movie, and it is a really bad movie. But I actually liked it. I thought it was kind of innovative. There's a couple of twists in it that I didn't see coming. And I'm not going to say it was well written, but it was creative, and the people who made it, there's a bunch of excellent behind-the-scenes features and interviews on the Blu-ray from, this was put out by Vinegar Syndrome. I highly recommend this if you're into, exploitation films or B-movies. This is a very good package, very well done by Vinegar Syndrome. Let me tell you what I watched on it. It's newly scanned and restored in 4K from the original 35mm camera negative. I did not listen to the commentary track, but there is a brand new interview with Roberta Finlay, who did the editing, I believe. So Bad, So Great, a brand new interview with producer and co-writer Ed Adlam. The Wilds of Westchester, this was filmed in upstate New York. The locations of the Shriek of the Mutilated, and an audio essay by cryptozoology author David Coleman. I watched all of those. I did not listen to the commentary, though, but this is highly recommended if you're into that kind of thing. If you're into that kind of thing. Next up, my one and only purchase from Groove. I went ahead and I bought the entire 5-film Monsterverse collection, Godzilla and X Kong. I haven't opened this yet, but this is the 4K version. I have all of these on Blu-ray, and I just wanted to get them all on 4K and just free up some space, so that's why I picked that up. Next up is Shout Factory, and I've seen all those movies, obviously. Next up is Shout Factory. These are all movies that I've seen except one, which is part of a 2-pack. Shout Factory recently did a reprint of Attack of the Crab Monsters, which is not a great movie, but as you may know if you've watched this channel for a while, I like movies that aren't necessarily really good. But this is one that I watched quite a while ago, maybe 2-3 years ago, and it's got some charm to it. These creepy-ass spider creatures, crab monsters, I guess, but they look more like humans bred with spiders more than they do crabs. They're really creepy. This was produced and directed by Roger Corman, the late Roger Corman, and I really wanted to get the special features. I was able to watch this. I actually forget how I watched it when I watched it, but this sold out very quickly when it was first released by Shout Factory or Scream Factory, and they did a reprint of it, another 1,000 copies of it, and I was able to get a copy. So, but there's some genuinely creepy, if maybe by accident, moments in this film. But if you like Roger Corman, especially his early work, this is well worth seeing. And if you can endure 63 minutes worth of bad movies, I highly recommend that as well. This came out in 1992. This is Memoirs of an Invisible Man, starring Chevy Chase, Daryl Hannah, and Sam Neill. Picked this up. I watched this last night. I had seen it when it was in theaters in 1992. I actually saw it. It was the last time I saw it was in theaters. And this is from John Carpenter, not one of his more well-known films. And I gave it another shot. I thought I might like it more than I did when I first saw it. And yeah, it's aged well effects-wise, but I guess Chevy Chase, not that it's an unusual story, was kind of a jerk on set to John Carpenter. John Carpenter threatened to quit the business after making this film because of his experience. Now, he's threatened that since then, but this is a movie that was in development hell for quite a while. The original script by William Goldman was intended to be a comedy. Ivan Reitman was originally supposed to direct it, and he wanted it to be a comedy, but Chevy Chase wanted it to be a drama. So as a result, what it turned into is sort of a film noir comedy / drama mess, but with really good special effects. It's entertaining, but it could have been so much more. I don't highly recommend it, but it is interesting to see if you're into John Carpenter, because it's so unlike a John Carpenter film. It's kind of, it's almost anonymously done. Pick this up also from Scream Factory. This is their new release, collector's edition of the 1996 version of The Island of Dr. Moreau, starring Val Kilmer, Marlon Brando, and what's-her-face from Fairuza Balk, and David Thewlis. And it has special creature makeup and effects by Stan Winston. You'll see why I bought this coming up in a few movies, but this was recently released by Scream Factory. They also included a poster with this, which meant really nothing to me because I don't really hang posters up, but I do have the poster as well. I have seen this. I know it's bad. I know the stories about, Marlon Brando needed to have his lines fed into a microphone that he had in his ear, and sometimes the microphone would pick up CB radios, so he would start reciting police radio broadcasts or something instead of his lines. But Richard Stanley has made a documentary, and we'll be seeing that very shortly. That's why I bought that. This is a 2-pack also from Shout Factory that I picked up. I've seen Big Bad Mama with Angie Dickinson, and I have not seen Big Bad Mama 2, but that comes with this, so I do want to see that. Big Bad Mama 1 with William Shatner as well. I used to watch the original on HBO when I was probably too young to watch it. There's the back. But I enjoyed it. It's also a Roger Corman film, I believe. Um, yeah, it's at least a Roger Corman produced film, directed by Steve Carver. But and then Big Bad Mama 2 was directed by Jim Wynorski. And like I said, I have not seen that one, so that is more or less a blind buy, but I really bought this for Big Bad Mama, so it's sort of a adjacent blind buy. But there you go. Just some, exploitation fun gangster movie set in the 30s. And then last but not least, from Shout Factory, Scream Factory, I did pick up the 4K Steelbook edition of Killer Clowns from Outer Space. It arrived with no damage, thankfully. I thought this was awesome. I saw a lot of other people picking it up, and I love this movie. I think it's worth having the special treatment in my collection, so I picked this up as well. I have not watched it in a while, though, so it is due for a rewatch. But Killer Clowns from Outer Space in 4K. So next up is eBay, and I picked up 2 movies from eBay. This one I wanted to watch with my wife just because was bringing up a scene from this, and was talking to her about it, and I just thought, what the hell, it's not in my collection. And she hadn't seen it, so I picked up This Is 40, which is the sort of sequel to Knocked Up. And this I was able to get with a slipcover, and it is brand new, and I only paid $8 for it on eBay, so I thought that was a pretty good deal. I don't think this was as good as Knocked Up, but I did enjoy it. There's quite a few scenes in it that I really liked, and it's got a great cast. And then, inspired by my recent viewing of Bratz on Hulu, I picked up the Criterion Collection edition of The Breakfast Club, brand new and sealed, because I did not have this in my collection. So again, like I said, I'm plugging some holes in my collection. This is the quintessential Brat Pack movie, except that even though Andrew McCarthy made a movie about the Brat Pack, this was featured prominently in that movie, but he's not in it. But yeah, great movie. All right, next up is Hamilton Book. This is sort of this was a blind buy, but I bought it as a curiosity because I'd never heard of it, and I'm really impressed by the cast. The fact that I haven't heard of it probably means that it stinks, but let me know if you've seen it and if it's any good. But it includes Anya Taylor-Joy, Charlie Heaton, Mia Goth, and Tom Fisher, and George McKay. And it is called Marrowbone. And I have not heard of this, but I watched the trailer and it looked pretty intense, so I figured I would give it a shot. Also a blind buy, but probably a movie I should have seen 20-odd years ago, and I never have, is Triple X with Vin Diesel. I've never seen this movie, never really had a chance to see this movie. I was working in theaters when this came out, and I just never made time for it, and as time went on, I just never got around to watching it. So figured I'd pick it up. It was only $4 or $5. And then this film was in the news recently when Scarlett Johansson, I believe, threatened legal action against a company for using her voice in AI, and it was mainly because of this film, Her, starring Joaquin Phoenix and Scarlett Johansson, Spike Jonze film. Who else is in this? Amy Adams, Rooney Mara, Olivia Wilde. This was the Academy Award winner for 2014's Best Original Screenplay for Spike Jonze. And I'm pretty sure he directed it as well. Yeah. But this, of course, is about a guy who falls in love with his operating system, which seemed pretty far-fetched 10 years ago, but who knows? Maybe somebody's falling in love with Alexa right now. Let's hope not. This is another blind buy, but feel it is something I should have in my collection and should watch very soon, is Dolomite with Rudy Ray Moore. Blaxploitation classic that I have never gotten around to watching. If you've seen this, let me know how it is. And also, maybe not a classic, but a movie that I think I should have watched, considering how much I loved its predecessor, and it is Muppets Most Wanted, with Tina Fey, Ricky Gervais, and Ty Burrell, and of course the Muppets. I love the 2011 Muppets movie, but I have not gotten around to seeing that one. And then I picked this up just sort of fill out my order. This was from Scream Factory. It's an original movie, but I watched Sting recently, which was about a killer spider. So I figured I would try out Itsy Bitsy from 2018, I believe, is when this is from. 2019. So yeah. Another creepy crawly spider movie. All right, now we get into Amazon. This is a film that I actually saw at the theater. I don't really remember it very well, so that's why I got it, because it's something that interests me. I believe this was one of the old Chic Sun Classic films from the 70s. If you remember Chic Sun Classic, they released movies like The Mysterious Monsters, and there was a movie about Nostradamus that they released, and me and my dad would go see those movies because they were a laugh riot. They were produced on a shoestring budget, but they were always about like these conspiracies or weird things happening. And this one was called The Lincoln Conspiracy, and this supposedly tells you, in quotes, it has on the back the real story of why Lincoln was killed. It also says that on the front cover. But according to this, John Wilkes Booth escaped to Canada and didn't get hung for his crime or something. I don't remember a lot of this movie, but I did see it. But I was just, the curiosity got me on this one. So I picked this up from Amazon. It was on sale. But this includes Bradford Dillman as John Wilkes Booth. He's right there. And then whoever this guy is playing Abe Lincoln. Who is that? John Anderson from Soldier Blue. With a name like that, I don't recognize who that is, but he looks the part, so that's interesting. But yeah, I just got that out of curiosity, and again, because I think it's a Chic Sun Classic film. I had to buy this because this is one of my all-time favorite movies, The Crow, on 4K. I did not get one of the fancy steelbooks or anything. I just got the movie with the slipcover. Although the way it was shipped and with the shininess of this, a lot of the corners got kind of dinged up, but whatever. The Crow is an awesome film. I don't know how many times I've seen it, but I've seen it a lot. Okay, this is the movie that I was telling you about, the reason I picked up The Island of Dr. Moreau. This is the special 3-disc House of Pain edition of Lost Soul, The Doomed Journey of Richard Stanley's Island of Dr. Moreau. I believe the documentary is supposed to be much better than the actual movie that it's about. But I love movie documentaries, behind-the-scenes type things, so this should be a hoot, but I want to rewatch. I'm not sure if I want to watch this first and then watch the movie, or watch the movie and then watch this, because I've seen The Island of Dr. Moreau, but it's been a minute since I've seen it, so I probably will watch The Island of Dr. Moreau and then watch this. But this is stacked with features, including a recently discovered 1921 German version of Dr. Moreau, which is pretty cool. But there's all sorts of featurettes. But the review on the back says it's incredibly entertaining, laugh out loud funny, and thoroughly riveting, a must-see. This is from Severin, so kudos to Severin for releasing this. I hope it is enjoyable. And then 2 more from Amazon. I'm always picking up the latest release from Film Masters, and their latest release is this, what they call the Something Weird Backwoods double feature, which I told you I like weird movies. This is something that I don't know that I would proudly proclaim that I watched, but you never know. It's a double feature of Common Law Wife and Jenny Wife Child. What are you watching, Sean? Oh, I'm watching Jenny Wife Child, Common Law Wife. But these are really, they call them Hicksploitation films. And I guess they're a hoot. I will let you know. But yeah. Then I picked up the recently released 4K edition of Bad Lieutenant that was put out by Kino Lorber with Harvey Keitel. I've seen this. This is not exactly an uplifting movie, but it is a really good movie. That's underselling it. It features a fantastic, if somewhat off-putting performance by Harvey Keitel as a cop, or as it says on the front cover, gambler, thief, junkie, killer, cop. Bad Lieutenant, which inspired, or I don't know if inspired is the word, but hatched a sequel, Bad Lieutenant 2, with Nick Cage, which I have not seen, but this was directed by Abel Ferrara, and this was written by Zoe Lund and Abel Ferrara, and it's been a while since I've seen it, but I do remember it. I watched it on HBO, so I'm really looking forward to seeing this. Harvey Keitel, one of my favorite actors. And this is probably one of his best roles. Again, if you've got the stomach for it. All right. Next up is Half Price Books. I went there yesterday just because I was actually at work. I work from home, but we had a function where we had to actually go into the office, and I was near Half Price Books, so I figured I would stop. So I checked out their clearance section and picked up a few things. They've actually raised the price of their clearance items by $1 on some things. So I picked up 3 titles from the clearance rack and then 2 titles from their regular selection. So there's a couple blind buys in here, and then some others, like I said, plugging holes in the collection. One of the blind buys was The Mummy, or is The Mummy, the Tom Cruise Universal the Dark Universe, or whatever the hell Universal was going to try and start with this. Russell Crowe's in this. I didn't even realize that. That's insane. So yeah, The Mummy with Tom Cruise. I've heard bad things, but for $3, I will check it out. I've seen this one. This actually is a movie about around where I live. This is Kill the Irishman. This is a story of Danny Green, who was a mobster in the Cleveland area. I drive by the building where he was killed on a semi-regular basis. Not to spoil the ending, but Danny Green died. But this also includes a documentary about Danny Green. But this has a pretty decent cast, including Ray Stevenson, Vincent D'Onofrio, and Christopher Walken. But yeah, I've seen this. I don't know why I didn't have it. Or I think I actually had it before and I sold it for some reason. These next 2 are blind buys. This was in the clearance section, $4. Victor Frankenstein with Daniel Radcliffe and, what's his name? James McAvoy. My brain lost it. It says The Legend Reborn. I believe this is a retelling of the original Frankenstein story in from a different perspective, or in a different mood or something. So I'm looking forward to seeing this. I kind of like different takes on the original Frankenstein story. Of course, Igor is played by Radcliffe, and Victor Frankenstein is played by McAvoy. I don't know who plays the creature, but we shall see. $4, take a chance. This is a blind buy, but it's a classic, and I've been adding a lot of classics into my library lately. Cool Hand Luke with Paul Newman. Um, it's got the famous quote, "What we've got here is a failure to communicate," on the front. Also includes George Kennedy, J.D. Cannon, Robert Dreyfuss, Lou Antonio, Strother Martin, and Joe Van Fleet. Directed by Stuart Rosenberg. Stuart Rosenberg is my Alan Smithy from Let's Get Harry, believe it or not. I believe I will put a yes or no at the bottom of the screen if I'm right, but I believe that is the name of the guy that directed Let's Get Harry that I couldn't remember. Yeah, Stuart Rosenberg. But anyway, far more remembered and less reviled for Cool Hand Luke, which is supposed to be an excellent film, so I'm glad I picked this up. And then last but not least of this part of the haul is a movie I can't believe I did not own. Good Morning Vietnam with the late, great Robin Williams. And I saw this in the theater. I've seen it many times since. Also in this is Forrest Whitaker. And who else is in this? It doesn't have the cast on the back, and I can't remember who else is in this, but man, it's got a great cast. Barry Levinson was the director. Oh, I wish it had more of the cast on the cover. I can't remember, but this is the 25th anniversary edition, and it's hard to believe that the 25th anniversary edition came out in, what was it? 2012. Whew. So the 25th anniversary edition is already 12 years old. So that's ridiculous. All right, next up is the Whatnot stuff. Give me 1 second to pull it off my shelf. So I've got the Whatnot stuff here. This is all Whatnot, all from the same seller, Alfster Cards, who is the only guy I buy from on Whatnot. So there's a mixture of blind buy stuff in here and stuff I've seen. Most of it is stuff I've seen, but there's the occasional blind buy in here. Well, it's pretty even mixed. But like I said, I get such great deals from him that I will buy more blind buy stuff from him than I will brand new. So we'll just jump into it. First up is a blind buy new release. Picked up the American Society of Magical Negroes. This just looked like a very interesting concept to me. This and the Book of Clarence, two recent films that kind of push racial boundaries that I look forward to seeing. And yeah, it's got David Alan Grier, who sometimes isn't funny, sometimes is. I've heard mixed things about this, but I'm looking forward to watching it. So we'll see how it is. Oops. Also picked up, this is another blind buy, The Best Exotic Marigold Hotel. As I get older, I find myself being more and more the target audience for films like this. So, but the cast looks really good. This has Judi Dench, Bill Nye, Dev Patel, Tom Wilkinson, the late Tom Wilkinson, and Maggie Smith. And this is from the director of Shakespeare in Love, who is John Madden, obviously not the football coach. But yeah, this looks good. I know there's a sequel to that, but we'll watch the first one first. I picked up, this is 40, so I figured I would pick up Knocked Up, because I did not have this in my collection. Saw this in the theater when it came out, watched it many times since. Love this movie. Not a big Katherine Heigl fan, but this is one of the films of hers that I can stomach. I know a lot of people don't like Seth Rogen. My brain went blank. But I like him in this movie. Paul Rudd is in this. Leslie Mann, of course, they're in this is 40 as well. Jay Baruchel, Jonah Hill, Jason Segel. So yeah. This is another new release, blind buy, but this cast looks amazing. It's Al Pacino and Michael Keaton, and Knox Goes Away. And this is about a man who is, he's a hitman who is attempting to make amends with his son before he succumbs to his dementia. I thought that sounded like an interesting movie. It was in theaters for approximately 10 minutes. I didn't get a chance to see it, so figured I'd pick it up on Blu-ray. This I saw in Walmart and considered buying it and then put it down. And when I went back to get it, it was gone like a week later. But Elster had it, so your lucky day. So guy wins a lottery ticket, or has a winning lottery ticket, and then he's forced to give it up to some thugs, I guess, so they can win it or get the money or something. The cast is full of people I've never heard of before, and it's probably terrible and or maybe not bad. I don't know, but for what I paid for it, I don't really care. I I picked this up just to complete a stack. I've seen this film. It's not a great film, but I don't know. Maybe I'll give it a shot again. I don't know. I might just trade it in. This was sort of a filler purchase, but I picked up Sucker Punch from Zack Snyder. This is a film I've seen. I struggled mightily to stay awake in it, so it probably deserves a second chance. Again, I've been doing a lot of second chances lately, but Sucker Punch, I could not tell you if you put a gun to my head what this movie is about. The last time I watched it, I totally was zoning in and out. So, yeah. Also picked up The Dead Don't Die from Jim Jarmusch with a stacked cast. You can read all the names there if you want to pause the video. Bill Murray, Adam Driver, etc., etc. This is a moderately funny movie. I think that it's got some moments. Overall, it's not the greatest zombie movie ever. It's obviously it's a comedy, but it's got some interesting moments, and it does bring up a few things that I thought were kind of thought-provoking. But yeah, I don't know. I have a soft spot for it. Jim Jarmusch is somebody that his films aren't necessarily among my favorites, but they have some of my, he makes movies with some of my favorite movie moments, if that makes sense. So I don't know. I like that one, and Coffee and Cigarettes has some good moments in it. Picked this up. I had this in my collection, and then I traded it in, and I wanted to get it back because it was really cheap. Insidious, the original. I remember liking this quite a bit. And I'm not really a big fan of jump scare movies, but this was all right. I like this one. Plugging holes in my collection. Never had this in my collection, and I did see it once when it was in theaters in the 80s. Who Framed Roger Rabbit? This again is a 25th anniversary edition, and this came out in 2013. So it's the 11th anniversary of the 25th anniversary edition of Who Framed Roger Rabbit. All right, I got this. This was Blind Buy. I found the sequel at a Dollar Tree, and I was going to buy it, but I'm like, wait, I haven't seen the first one, so I put it back. So I found the first one. It is Snow White and the Huntsman with Charlize Theron, Chris Hemsworth, and Kristen Stewart. Hemsworth. I always do that. Hemsworth, not Helmsworth. This is no fairy tale. I don't know if this is any good or not. If you've seen it, let me know. But I remember hearing iffy things, but I want to check it out. Got Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle. I've never seen the original Jumanji. I don't think you need to see that to see this, but this has a decent cast. Kevin Hart, The Rock, Jack Black, Karen Gillan. I don't know. It seems like it'd be a light, funny movie, so I'll give that a shot. Probably not a light and funny movie, but something that I was interested in seeing, as I've been finding sort of a new respect for Robert Pattinson as an actor. And it's got Reese Witherspoon and Christoph Waltz, who both I enjoy their work. But I picked up Water for Elephants. I told my wife I picked this up, and she said she had heard it has a sad ending, so that probably means she doesn't want to watch it. But I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. I will buy Marvel movies if I can get them at the price that I get them from Alf. I got this for $6. This is Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. As you can see, it looks like it's opened, but it's not. He just takes the digital codes out of these and then sells them at a cheap price, which I don't care about. So yeah, I picked this one up. I've heard horrible things about it, but for $6, I will deal with it. Another blind buy. I'm working on my Liam Neeson collection, and this I haven't seen. This is Taken 3, the unrated version. So now I have Taken 1, 2, and 3. I probably could have stopped at Taken 1 and been completely fine, but what are you going to do? Then I picked up The Nightmare Before Christmas, which, believe it or not, I did not have in my collection. It has a great slipcover, but then it has the old artwork. This is the sing-along edition, but it does include the regular theatrical version, so that's cool. But I did not own this, and I love this movie. Some more blind buys. Got Dune Part 2 in 4K to complete the collection. I have the first one, and I've seen the first one, but I have not seen this one, and I want to rewatch the first one before I watch this one, because I have only seen the first one once, and that was in the theater, so it's due for a rewatch. Then I'll watch this one. I've heard nothing but good things about it. Again, another Marvel movie that I only paid $6 for, I believe. Maybe $5, I don't remember, but I picked up the Marvels with no digital code. This was more curiosity than anything. I'm going to hold this up and probably instantly regret it, but I bought all 3 of the 50 Shades films. I think this is $12 for all 3 of them, but these are the unrated editions, so yeah. And I also got, to balance that out, I got the 3 Night at the Museum collection, 3 movies of the Night at the Museum series, which was A Night at the Museum, Night at the Museum Battle of the Smithsonian, and Night at the Museum Secrets of the Tomb, or Secret of the Tomb. I have only seen the first one of these, and I really enjoyed it. I saw it on New Year's Eve in 2006, I think it was. And then these last 2, one is a blind buy, and one is a film I have seen. The blind buy was Imaginary, which I have heard less than stellar things about. But again, at the price I paid for it, I really don't care. I picked this up for $6, I believe. 6 or 7. I don't remember. But yeah, Imaginary. About the killer teddy bear. Or Furry Megan. And then I picked up the American version of Let the Right One In, which is called Let Me In. I still have to get the original version on Blu-ray, but I have seen this. It's not bad. It's not as good as the original. The original one is Swedish, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. I apologize. I can't remember what country the original film is from off the top of my head. But this one's not too terribly bad. This has Chloe Grace Moretz, Cody Smith McPhee, and who else is in this? Elias Koteas is in it, and it was directed by Matt Reeves. This also includes some goodies. It includes this little comic book. I'll just show you real quick, which I thought was kind of cool. But I paid, I think, $4 for this, because the slipcovers, older titles with slipcovers with Alf are usually $4. So $4 for this. And this was originally $30 back in the day. And this came out in, was it 2011? Yeah, 2011. So, yeah, Swedish. The Swedish, that's what the original was. But yeah, Swedish one's better, but this one's not bad. So if you only can see this one, definitely check it out. But try to seek out the original. And I will have to take my own advice and do that. This was a Hammer production. No shit. Well, there you go. Or maybe a Hammer co-production. But it does include the limited edition comic book. All right. That is everything for June. So I went for almost 40 minutes, and yeah, that's nothing. That's what nothing looks like in my world. Thanks for staying with me for this long. If you stayed this long, I appreciate your attention span. As always, thank you for subscribing. If you've done so recently, I've picked up a lot of new subscribers. Um, I mentioned that I was going to be making an announcement about the channel. I did in the community tab, so if you haven't seen that, check the community tab. If you haven't, I am starting a new podcast with, sorry if you see the camera moving like that. My cat is rubbing up against the tripod, sorry. But I'm starting a new live stream podcast with Kenny from Kenny's Movie Palace. It's called Talking Movies with Sean and Kenny. It's exactly what it sounds like. We're going to talk about movies. First episode will be coming out or airing live on July 2nd at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We'd be more than happy if you tuned in. It'll be live streaming on this channel and on the new Talking Movies with Sean and Kenny channel, which you can find by searching, hopefully. If you can't find it, I will put a link below so you can subscribe and be ready and click that notification bell on this channel for all my videos here and on that channel for every new video we post over there. Yeah, that's the announcement. And then there is a Instagram page for the podcast, so I'll be posting things about that. Yeah, so if you like hearing me yap about movies and you know Kenny, Kenny's a good guy. I apologize for the camera. I am so sorry. If you like movies, you like hearing me yap about movies, and you know Kenny, and if you don't know Kenny, get to know Kenny, because Kenny's a good dude. He's good people. So we are going to talk about movies together for 2 hours every other Tuesday starting July 2nd of 2024. So before my camera gets knocked over by my cat, or one of my cats, because there's only one in here right now, God forbid another one comes in and runs the place over, I will be seeing you. So take it easy. Thanks for watching.